Mr. Keyes, thank you for coming to Dallas to talk to us today. Come on out. Let me get this out of your way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's good to be here. It's good to be in the face of this evidence that the people who believe that the spirit of American initiative, the spirit of American self-government, the spirit of American self-reliance is dead are wrong. The people of this country are determined that this shall be the government that it was intended to be. Not a government of the government by the bureaucrats and for the politicians, but a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And they are gathered here. No, I don't think that we have faced as critical a moment in American history since this republic began. And I say that advisedly. You look back over the course of our history, we've had a lot of crises. The great crisis of the Revolution and the Civil War and the Depression and the World Wars, we've been through an awful lot. But our founders predicted time and again that if the final threat ever came to the freedom of America, it would not be because of some external foe or invasion. It would be because somewhere along the way we lost the will, we lost the character, we lost the wherewithal to govern ourselves and retain our freedom. And I think you can see all around you in America today that there are signs that that crisis is upon us. A government that over the decades on the claim of war and the claims of peace and the claims of every kind of crisis they can find has expanded its bureaucratic control, its control over our resources, its control through regulation over every aspect of our lives. Some people have come along who seem to believe that it is the business of government to substitute for the work and the will and the energy and the responsibility of this great people. But you know, that's not how this country was built. It's not how we got here. It is not how we sustained its liberty during the 19th century or moved it to a position of world leadership in the 20th century. I do not believe that the challenge of politics in America is about the confidence we can have in our rulers. I believe it is about the confidence we must have in ourselves. And if we are willing once again, to assert that true confidence, then I think that we can put this country back on its path toward glory. Now, but how do you do that? Several years ago, when I was at Citizens Against Government Waste, I can remember reading a report of a congressional debate where some senator or other said that the deficit problem at that time wasn't a problem, he said, that had people demonstrating in the streets. This was his way of saying that he didn't think the American people really cared too much about whether it was going up or going down or what was happening to it. I'm thankful that in the course of the years since then, we've managed to do one or two things to perhaps change his mind. You know, and one of the things that I was instrumental in putting together was National Taxpayer Action Day. I took that as a challenge. I said to myself, let's prove that in point of fact this is an issue people will get into the streets over. And in the course of the next few months, it only took us about 3.5. Everybody thought it was impossible. We at CAGW organized demonstrations in every congressional district, in cities and towns all over America. People in large groups and small came out to demonstrate their concern over what was happening to our money, to demonstrate their understanding that there isn't a single dollar this government spends that does not represent the work, the sweat, the dreams, the aspirations of some American family. They have no right to disrespect our dreams. They have no right to disrespect our sacrifices. So what do we do? What do we do? We helped, and we have promoted the agenda, many points of which are today on the agenda of United We Stand, the agenda of government discipline through a balanced budget amendment, the agenda that makes it clear. You know, they keep telling us that we've got to wait until they figure out where to cut, and then they'll get responsible. It reminds me, any of you have kids in college? Now, if you send them an allowance and they spend it up, right, and they keep on calling up and asking you for more, and at some point you get upset and decide you got to put an end to it, what do? I suppose you sit down and write them a letter that says, son, or you make a phone call and say, son, daughter, if you are willing to make up a list of all the things that you're going to cut back on next semester, then after I get that list, I'll decide how much to cut your allowance by. Is that what you do? And then I suppose you sit and wait with bated breath for that list to come. No, my friends. What you do is you'll say, this is what I'm sending you, this and no more, and when you've spent it up, hit the books, because that's all you're going to have the time to do is study. Well, I'll tell you, I think it's time we sent that same message to the federal government. You know, last time I looked, did you get that letter in the mail where they said, look, if you will specify where you can cut your family budget, then we'll raise the taxes? You remember that letter? I don't remember that letter. They raise our taxes and let our family budgets take the consequences. I say let them cut taxes. Let them pass the balanced budget amendment. Let them acknowledge the discipline that should be there in borrowing, and let them take the consequences of that, because that's their responsibility. The key to deficit responsibility is simple, my friends. Don't let them fool you with all this talk of giving us their list of cuts. They can't spend what they don't get, so don't give it to them in the first place.